You're with the Ask Your Angels talk show. We are at www.askyourangels.ca. And tonight our special guest is Derek White Sky Cloud. We're talking about Native American history and the Great White Spirit. Derek? Derek? Oh, that was good. Okay, so
I hear you.
Oh, where did you go?
Actually, I muted you while you were saying, "Everybody quiet."
Oh, okay. All right. Well, we have you with us now, so thanks for joining us.
You're most welcome.
That's never happened. That's too funny. So, Derek, you were telling me that you go back as far as well, not as back. I'm not. We should just start this show over. Oh my gosh, you're related to Pocahontas.
Yes, I am.
Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Well, Matakwa is her name. She's actually related to me by my grandfather's side, my mom's dad, I should say. And his name is Robert Henry Rolfe, my grandfather, and he actually married. The family was John Rolfe, who married her as well.
Mm-hmm.
And so I didn't know anything about this until my grandfather. I found his documents in the chest, in my mom's chest, which belonged to her mom before. And I found a black leather envelope, and that's where it all started. And when I found out I had native blood, I went to the kids and told them in school I got native blood, and next thing you know, I got beat up.
Oh.
And, oh yeah, when you're in a white society back in the 60s, you were not accepted.
No, I remember, I think that was around the time, too, Cher sang the song Half-Breed. I think that was about the same sort of thing.
All the time.
Mm-hmm. So, how far back do Native American Indians go? Native Americans?
Thousands of years.
Okay.
Yeah, thousands of years. I mean, generations and generations. The first, like myself, I'm actually Métis, which people may call it half-breed, but we are the mixed blood. My grandmother is my mom's mom. Is from the Bear River Reserve in Nova Scotia. And many years ago, a lot of people, we had a lot of shame placed upon us when we were young, and saying that it's wrong to be Indian, or wrong to have even Métis mixed blood. So a lot of people back in those years who were Métis used to hide it, and then would say, "Oh, I'm just French, or I'm Scottish, or I'm Ukrainian," or something like that. They would use that as an excuse to hide away the native ancestry. And that's changed now. A lot of people have changed that. Today, we're still, some of the generations from the 4th to 7th, now 7 generations now, but there's so many children now today still carry some of that shame because their parents told them to, that it's shameful to be who they are, and some of them are not. Most of them are, we're trying to teach them now how to, basically step up to the plate and be proud of who they are.
Mm-hmm. I'm hoping, we're living in a society now where we are appreciating that we are all equals. I know, I believe down south it's a little bit, still a little bit prejudiced, but I'm hoping that we're getting to that point. I mean, when I was little, that's when mixed marriages were all the big thing, and there was a lot of controversy, and my thought was always, how wonderful is this? Because eventually, with these mixed marriages, everybody's going to start looking the same, and there won't be any more of this anymore.
We always had criticism of who we are, even by name. Mm-hmm. People would say, "Oh, are you this or are you that?" And who you related to. And then criticism was there. What I'm saying is because when anybody said that you were either related to the Métis, and they'll say, "Well, what part of it?" We say Red River. And the Red River means like Louis Riel and Gabriel de Mont. So then a lot of people used to always be shy and be afraid of the fact that they were connected to those people, because they're thinking that they're going to get hunted down and killed. Because even to this day, there still actually is a reward to hunt out all of the Riels and hunt out all of the De Monts, and to have them killed.
That's
that contract is not done with the government. The federal government still wants it. They have not even removed it. It's pretty crazy.
well, that is crazy.
It is.
So, have you ever yourself lived on a reserve, or can you tell us what life on a reserve would be like?
Well, living on a reserve is like living in a village. It's like everything, like every other day. Nobody lives in a teepee, and you don't tend to go use the teepees when you're camping. And that's a luxury for us. But everybody lives in the houses. Being on a reserve is like living in a small town. That's all it really is. There's very few people that. The lifestyle is really laid back.
Mm-hmm.
There's traditional hunting, fishing, a lot of survival skills you learn. Everybody has their lifestyle sometimes. Some people could be drinkers, drug users. Most of it's in the youth. We try to take that away from them, the drug use, but it's not common even in the streets and living in the city, urban cities. You get that with kids here too. So, it's like we're trying to help the community. Whenever they need me, I get called in. I travel to northern Alberta.
Mm-hmm.
I work on the res, different places, whether it's Sucker Creek, or whether it's Drift Pile or Slave Lake. There's all kinds of places I get called to work up there, and I'm there for about 5 days per month, 5, 6, 7, maybe 7 days for a whole for the week, and then I go back home. Then I come back up again for another week. Because they call me up to be a counselor, to work with them and to help them and to help them go through their healing. And so that's important. We need a lot of our children are missing that healing moment, and they're looking for something that they're struggling with. And there are some really good people live on the res. There are really a lot of good people up there. Everybody likes to work with it. It's a very strong community, very supportive. Very few people actually are against one another. Community is about community, and they really like to keep things strong. And then there's the other reservations that are. Everybody's different. Like you live in a small town. It's a small little town. Not everybody has a satellite dish. Not everybody has a cable TV. Not everybody else has a radio, so to speak. And some people still live the old pioneering days, living in a house, and they go hunting or they go fishing, and that's their way of life. That's the way it is. So, and I've enjoyed that. Even as a kid growing up, we went hunting and fishing, so I'm used to that tradition.
So, Derek, if they don't live in teepees, where did the teepee originate? Of course, all the old movies you see Indians living in teepees. Where did that come from?
The teepees actually had come out. People did live in teepees generations ago, thousands of years. But they didn't use a fabric like canvas. Back in those years, they used varieties of spruce, depending on the territories, or they would use other varieties of trees, cover, even buffalo hides. When they were hunting the buffalo, they would use the buffalo hides as part of the cover. Now, the teepee itself alone, I'm actually, my background is Ojibwe, and my teachings are that it was always the woman that actually was supposed to put up the teepee, not the man.
That sounds about right.
Hunting, fishing, bring the food, and she would cook and put the teepee up.
So really, just the same as things are now.
Yeah, do all the same thing, except can you actually visualize your wife actually build a house before she gets started?
No, you got me there. Even camping, I don't put the tent up, so.
Yeah, see? So, there's not. I gotta tell you one thing. If you guys ever go camping, get yourself a teepee, because if you ever come across high winds, and I'm sure you do, come across high winds being in a tent, and if the wind is blowing so hard it blows your tent, and if you're not in the tent, it flies across the ground.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're in a teepee, it can withstand 125 mile an hour wind. It won't get blown over.
That's incredible.
Yeah, you can cook inside your teepee if need be.
They need more teepees in trailer parks.
I'm sorry?
They need more teepees in trailer parks.
Yeah, that's why sometimes you'll see some of the symbolic pictures on the highway and they show the teepee, not a trailer.
Oh, that's true.
It actually gives you an idea. That's where you can camp. But nobody's using teepees. They're all using tents.
We were camping when I was a little girl in Michigan, and there was a tail end of a tornado came through. We were in a tent trailer. That was pretty terrifying. My dad went and slept in the car. Left us in the tent.
Let your kids get blown away and he's in the car. That's good. Oh,
Well, that's so he can drive after us. I'm sure he had a plan, I think.
yeah, right. And the car can fly too. Bang, bang.
So, for hunting, is there any type of hunting Native Americans prefer, like type of animal? What's the preferred cuisine?
Cuisine? Muskrat?
Muskrat, really?
Yeah, we eat muskrat. We eat muskrat. We eat beaver tail. We eat moose nose. You cook moose. You shoot the moose. You eat
The nose?
eat the meat and you eat the nose.
That's what I thought you said.
Yeah, moose nose.
Mmm.
Pretty good. You can also we hunt bear. So those have a silver for eating bear, deer, mostly elk.
Caribou?
Sorry?
Caribou?
No, caribou's not out here. It's mostly in the north.
Now, my husband's from up north. They eat
Yeah,
caribou
most-
burgers.
Some people do hunt caribou not too often, but not the areas where I live.
Hmm. So, what type of staples would the women look for? When they're getting, when you're living off the land. Well, here's a question: like corn, why do they call it maize? Why do we call it corn? Why do they call it maize?
Well, corn actually it's taught in different symbolic meanings because corn. There's actually 4 different elements of food that were used that were survival foods, and that's the beans, the corn, and your
Squash?
acorns. Depending on what you're using, that's available.
Mm-hmm.
And each of those are actually made easily or grown because they're a staple that can survive through the whole winter. You don't have to freeze it. So once you dry it out, dehydrate it. Same with salmon. If you want to go fishing, you can dry your salmon in the sun and hang it, and then it'll last you for months. We make what you call pemmican, which is a dry tack. And pemmican, you can actually use the meat and mix it with some berries, some blueberries, dry it out, and you can use that for a source of food. We also have another type of food called salt tack, and that's actually a mixture of crushed meat with lots of salt, and you dry it really, really dry. And so if you're traveling somewhere, if you need to chew on something, if you're deep in the bush, you have that in your pocket, and just take a piece of that and chew on that, and that's nutrition, so you could survive in the bush.
Wow, that actually sounds pretty tasty.
Yeah.
Better than, more than moose nose, I have to say.
Some people think if you eat moose nose, you have to eat the snot. But there's no.
Yum.
Because cooking moose nose
Would dry it out, I'm sure.
you ever seen bacon rind?
Yes.
Okay. You take the pig rind and you put in the oven. You make briskets, right?
Right.
Well, it's the same thing. We take the moose nose. You cut the moose nose. You put it in the oven the same way, and then you chew on it. It's crispy. That's why we say it's really crispy and tasty eating moose nose.
Because of the marinade.
Yeah, we also eat ooligan, which is a silver fish. I'm sure you may have heard of that. It's about 8-9 inches long, and we would sun dry the ooligan, and then if there's any, then we make. And the ooligan is very oily at some point when you dry it out. So you take the oils and mix it up, and basically it's called ooligan grease. And you can dip that in bread and like a butter, so to speak, but it's really, really good for you.
Oh, okay.
Very healthy.
That sounds good. For those of you who are joining us, you're with the Ask Your Angels talk show. We are at www.askyourangels.ca. And tonight our special guest is Derek White Sky Cloud. We're talking about Native American history and the Great White Spirit. So, Derek, what is the Great White Spirit? Or
Great White Spirit.
who is the Great White Spirit?
Spirit. Creator, all living things. All things that we look at. Great Spirit's everything around us.
Right.
Great White Spirit. And then the spirit world. We call it Great White Spirit. That's just how I understand it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, a lot of people used to always question about their religion. You know, and that's where we had that problem in our society. People always branded us as being a bad person because we didn't pray to God. But I tell people this: one time there was a priest came to town one day, and a bunch of us were loading up some stuff for supplies in our vehicle, and this priest didn't like the idea of us working on Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
And he says, you know, I realize that Sunday is supposed to be the day of rest, not to work. And we said, okay. You're supposed to be out there praying. You're supposed to give thanks to Creator. Okay, yes, we do that. Then why are you working on Sunday? And I looked at this fellow and I said, well, we pray every day. We don't just pray on Sunday.
Oh, that's a good answer.
So
I like.
caught his attention. He got frustrated. He looked at me, dropped his face, and gave me that little look, and then walked away. Oh, you people, he said.
But it's true. I mean, I believe you can pray anytime. It's a private thing. Or it can be a public thing. But I think you can do it anywhere, anytime, and you know, the rest isn't important.
Yeah, it's not based on a religion at all. It's actually what we have here in this world. Creator is all things around us and with us. Mm-hmm. And we are loved every day by a Creator. And I've had so many things happen to me when I was a kid growing up that I witnessed that very few people actually would understand. It would just blow them away. And when you experience your first powwow when you're 5 years old, and you have a priest walk up to you, we used to call them the black robes because that's what they used to wear, look like a black robe, 4 CMP officers showing up. We had our powwow in the Grizzle Reserve, and remember one of the elders walked up to my mom and she said, your son's going to do great things when he grows up to be a young man. He gets older. He said when he reaches into his 30s and 40s, he'll do great things. And he said he will be needed by the people. And my mother didn't know what that meant at the time. I guess she was thinking, well, he's my son. You know, what can my son do great things? Well, yeah, I mean, a son is a son. Every son could do great things. But I think what she was minding or curious about, like, why they're saying it. Sometimes these men understand what they see in the future for someone. They look at you and they'll say, well, you know, like, you're going to be doing this, and they see you doing that, and they see you doing this. So I didn't pay attention much to it. I was just wanting to dance. And then this priest came up to me and he looked at me and he called me the heathen child. Who does this child belong to? My mother, you know, that's my son. Get him out of here and you get back home where you belong. You don't belong here. Stop this, they would say, stop this devil-worshipping dancing. This is evil. This is evil. And then the RCMP would disperse everybody back to their homes. It was pretty interesting. That happened in Alberta, in Manitoba.
Well, he was right.
Sorry?
I said he obviously was right. Because you do a lot of great things, and you're helping a lot of people.
Well, I like to share the story because it's important that people know the ignorance of society. And it wasn't really the white, non-native people that they were taught the ignorance by the government. They were taught to hate. They were taught to ridicule. They were taught to, you know, look at us as being the bad person, look at us as being the drunkard, the drinker, the drug user, you know, and it was forced upon us to go that direction at times. And I mean, they don't see it as alcoholism, but alcoholism goes into every race. Every race has drinks. Every race do drugs.
Yeah.
You know, but they want to put a label out there, and then they blame the Indian. It's their fault. They blame this, blame that. The really interesting part in history, because I'm actually a historian myself, because I'm actually the culture director of the Michif Historical Culture Preservation Society. I teach Métis history. And then during the first time when the French landed upon the land, in the late 1600s, early 1700s, and when they came ashore, as they're coming ashore, to see all the red-colored Indians. And the reason why they saw them as being red, because they're wearing red ochre, which is a red clay. And sometimes some of the tribes would wear these red ochre, not just because it was part of their identity of the tribal territory, but also it protected their skin from the hot sun, because sometimes the sun would be so hot. And you know what the temperature's like in Ontario and those areas, 115, 125, that's pretty well hot. So they would wear the red ochre to protect them from the hot sun. And what really did help a lot for them, anyways, when the French came ashore, they saw them, they look like, for their concern, look in their Bible, and they believe that they represent the devil because of the color red. And that's why they look at it saying they're the red devils.
That's
and another part of it too, they used to say, why do you call them the savages, or la sauvage? Because they witnessed, the priest witnessed, because they offered, see, the white man basically at the time, they hunt the deer out so badly that there was hardly any food left in the winters, that even though the First Nations people did not, say, oh, well, you hunted our deer out, now we're going to blame you. They didn't. They still offered them a place to stay, to live and survive. And so what happened was, when people arrived, and again, like later on through the seasons, in the winter season, it was so cold, there's hardly any food to eat. People had to survive, and the old ones would die. And so the First Nations people had to make a decision. They had to eat their own people once in a while. So when the one priest would walk in and he witnessed one of their own people being eaten, they called him savage because they thought it eat human skin. But that's because everyone had to survive some means and ways, and it was been known that white men did the same thing. They ate their own people. But they wouldn't tell you. They wouldn't show you. They think it was wrong.
It's like that movie with the plane crash.
Nobody had a cell phone back then. Nobody had television. Nobody had, no one to police you. So you had to find a means of ways to survival. That's the only way it works.
Yeah. So, going back, you'd mentioned at the beginning of your story a powwow. What exactly is a powwow for people who aren't familiar with that?
We call powwows celebration of life. Those are celebration for all Native and non-Native people. We invite the non-Native people to the powwows so they can come and watch us, and sometimes they'll participate. We have what you call a intertribal dance. When the MC calls out intertribal, that means that even the non-Native people can dance, because the drum will always come calling you. Actually, it gets into your heart and your soul, and you feel like you want to participate. And it has been known that a lot of non-Native people become dancers themselves, and so they would bring tobacco to an elder or whomever is in the community that teaches, and they would say, is it possible if I can dance too? I have a calling to this. And they would say, yes, what would you want to, what type of dance would you like to participate in? So they would teach them. And then they would work on making their regalia and becoming who they are, powwow dancers or participants, whichever. But it's basically all about community coming together. It's not about, well, I own this, so I own that. Now, mind you, sometimes they have certain powwows and certain reservations that they only have powwows that relate to only their own people. Depends but if they invite you, and if you have an open invitation to the public, if you see a flyer somewhere and it says, means everyone welcome, they mean everyone welcome. It means you get to participate and learn, as long as you follow the protocol. And they ask you not to bring any drugs or alcohol on site when the powwow is on, because it is sacred to us. And the dances represent sacredness of different type of ceremonies.
I actually went to one of those when I was a little girl, and it was at night, and it was just the most beautiful, beautiful thing. It was wonderful. We actually have a question, Derek.
Online, we have the question from Medium Ruth. Does white sky cloud channel any spirits?
All the time.
Yeah.
I'm actually I'm a medium. In our tradition, we're called seers. And yeah, I do channel them. I don't call them out and say, "Come here, I'll talk to you." No, if they want to come and talk to me, or if someone wants to get a reading, that's exactly what I do. My ability is I see the spirits. I see them coming in, like I see like a doorway. And so whomever's in that room, if they want to receive a message, then they'll come through and I'll tell them exactly who they are. Sometimes I get them by name.
Well, thanks, Derek. We have another question.
Okay, questions are coming fast and furious, so bear with me.
Good.
We like that.
And they keep moving up on me. Does white sky cloud see the spirits?
We just
Yes,
did.
I do. I see the spirits. Sometimes I can describe the people to them, what they would look like. Sometimes what kind of clothing that they wear, how they style, and I also see at times the spirit will even come to me and enter my body and tell me how they physically crossed over. Then I describe that to the person. I do work for the RCMP once in a while to do investigations. If a person has been kidnapped or crossed over or missing, I help the missing people cases once in a while.
Oh, that's fantastic. Do we have another question? Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Got a two-part question here. They were talking about ceremonies. So any kind of vision ceremonies, sacred plant ceremonies, and any of the traditions?
Well, basically, if you have a fasting ceremony, we have a ceremony that relates to 4 days and 4 nights, the calling of the spirits. Sometimes people use that to calling their name, looking for who they are. Visual quest, depending on what you're looking for. Everyone has a specific type of ceremony. If you're fasting for specific to, say, for medicine, to learn about your medicines, there'll always be an elder that will watch the fire for you for the 4 days and 4 nights. So it depends. I can't describe to you about how it's done because it is considered as a sacred way, because everybody does it differently.
Okay. Do we have another?
I also run sweat lodges.
I was going to ask you, what are sweat lodges? Because I heard that term a little while ago, and it's not what I imagined it would be.
A sweat lodge is like going to church, except you're not all dressed up wearing a suit. We go there to pray. We ask for prayers for people to heal. Mm-hmm. We ask for healing, first and for ourselves. We give thanks to Mother Earth and all things that are with us. We give thanks to all elementals, those in 4-legged and 2-legged, those that are flying and those that are below the ground. And we give thanks to the universe creator and all that.
Okay. We have another question.
Another question online. Has he ever been channeling and an evil spirit comes in?
That question's been a lot. No. If you're positive and asking for protection of guardianship of light, highest way, brightest of light, nothing evil will come through you. That's where people have that fear of thinking they see Hollywoodism, that an evil spirit can come right through you. Mm-hmm. That's Hollywoodism. Nothing evil will come through you. I have witnessed 2 young boys, 15 years old, that they became possessed. Individually became possessed. Their eyes turned jet black. And where I had to help remove the possessions. But other than that, no. And there was actually a young 10-year-old boy that became temporarily possessed, and he actually was a paraplegic in a wheelchair. It tried to take over him and tried to tell me what to do. And I just told him to leave the child alone. He's an innocent. to get out now. And so I used the assistance of the blood of Christ to help take it out.
We were actually, my spiritual group was talking about this exact same thing today, how if you ground yourself and you ask your angels for protection and you go through all those methods before you do healing work, then you're protecting yourself from negative energy. But in the case of children, Derek, they're, and correct me if I'm wrong, they're more open, they're very innocent, they don't really know how to do that. So are they easy victims for that sort of thing, would you say?
I always tell people this: if you keep on playing with Ouija boards and trying to conjure things that you don't understand, you need teachings. You need proper people that can teach you professionally, that know how to do it. But never try to do this alone, because you can and you could become very sick. That's why a lot of the children sometimes end up in institutions, because what they practiced and how they got themselves in trouble. And they thought it was fun even to practice witchcraft, or they think it's fun to read a book and they think they know everything and they don't. I mean, you want to talk about angels. I've had my sightings of angels for years. And one of the most memorable angel experience that I had was asked to come out to help a mother and her two sons, where there was a ghost that was in her house, and it was supposedly under the boys' beds. These boys were 7 and 5 years old, and the boys were scared. They didn't want to go in their room, and it kept on scaring them. So I was talking to the mother on the phone. I told her, I said, well, go into the boys' room, tell that ghost to go into your room, into your bedroom, and where her and her husband are. And I said, tell the ghost to go into your bedroom, in the adult's room, so then the boys won't worry about it. So she went in and she made her demand. She said, if you want to do anything, go into our room, but don't leave the boys alone. So she said she thinks that that's where it went, because she said she saw the sheets on the blanket move. So I said, okay, good. So I said, I'm on my way. So I ended up, when I got there, and I walked in, and I walked into the boys' room. There was no movement of the ghost being in their room. So I realized after that they must have went into her and her husband's room. So I walked in, and his wife was in there sitting on the edge of the bed. I said, you sit over here, and I want you to see something. So what I ended up doing, I said, well, if you're here, come on out now. And I called them out. Now, you got to remember, too, a ghost can show themselves to you the way they feel they want to show themselves to you in their own understanding. Mm-hmm. So this particular ghost, instead of being shown themselves in a human form like a human, they show themselves like a Casper form, but quite tall. So you got a white person with a round head and black eyes and black mouth come up behind the headboard, and he's looking at me, raising his arms like, you can't touch me, I can't, I don't have to leave. And I said, you better leave now and go into the spirit world. Time for you to go into the light. If you don't go into the light, I'm going to call in the angels. And he's looking at me, and he just says, no, I'm not going to go. He's just shaking his head sideways, no, I'm not going. I said, okay, fine. So I called in the archangels, Michael, Uriel, Gabriel, and Michelangelo. I said, I asked for the assistance to come in to take this ghost out of the home and back into the home of light. What happened was, a matter of a few minutes, we saw a billowing of smoke coming through the ceiling. Now, the ceiling in the room is 10-foot vault ceiling, so this is 10 feet high. Large house. We witnessed, both her and I, the wife and myself, we witnessed the smoke billowing coming down behind the ghost. Then it took shape of a human form, about 9 feet high. And then there was an appearance of two arms coming around in the front, and the hands came together like prayer, not like grabbing and, I'm not going to let you go, but just in the front. And then the head of the angel, which I knew was an angel because it looked like two arcs in the back, two wings, and the head dropped as if it was praying. And we watched this, and the ghost his head was shaking, bobbing around like as if he's like, oh my God, like his eyes were blinking on and off, like eye open and shut, blinking. And I'm looking at him thinking, okay, he's going through a life review now. The angel's showing him what he looked like or what he'd done when he lived on this earth. Matter of maybe 2 minutes, not even that, the angel let him go. The angel just billowed back in through the ceiling and disappeared. The ghost looked at us confused, and he looked at both of us, and then he said, sorry, I scared you.
Oh.
And then the angel came down, again, from the ceiling, but from the upper part down, like the upper part of his body, reached down with his arm stretched out to the ghost. The ghost reached up to the angel, and the ghost rose to the angel's arms and then disappeared.
That's a beautiful story.
That's a true story, one of the stories we witnessed.
Thank you for sharing that, Derek.
You're welcome.
I had a question for you based on that. If someone has a child or children who are extremely intuitive and very gifted, should they encourage that or should they shield them? Like, what should they do? If you have a child that can see ghosts, what is the best way to approach that?
Well, number one, when you come across someone whose child is gifted, that means you're coming into their own connection with spirit, but they're so open. Children are so open around the 8 years old on up to about maybe 12 or 13, maybe 14.
Mm-hmm.
And some people say, well, they question that idea, like, should they be encouraged to continue on using that, or should they not? Well, my opinion is, a child is so innocent, so open about anything, because all they understand is love and light. They don't understand hardship. They don't understand hate. They don't understand what's right and what's wrong. Mm-hmm. They are taught what's right and what's wrong, but they don't know everything.
Right.
And so we have to be there to help them, even though if you want to encourage them, but you also need to be there, and you have to have someone that's understanding that will work with kids. Myself, I feel that if you can teach that child to say, don't be afraid, but to ask for guiding light to protect you. But if you feel that you're not comfortable with whoever is in that room with you, if mom's not there or dad's not there, then ask for assistance from another medium that not understands. Because kids are always curious. They're so Hollywoodized by television, and they're so afraid. Sometimes they're believing that it's all true. So we have to remember now, too, that we can become so incensed on wanting to be a ghost hunter. Right now, you see a lot of that on TV. Everybody wants to be a ghost hunter, spirit, or they want to be a psychic. And it is the calling of the spirit. It is calling of the children. The children, yes, you can go by different names. The violet children, the crystal children. You can give them any kind of name you want. Mm-hmm. Every child is a crystal child. Every child is gifted. We are gifted before we are born in this world. We all have the ability to see. That's why the parent always told us that we always have such an imaginary friends. And I had my imaginary friends, so to speak. I mean, I knew about the existence of spirits when I saw my first ghost. And I saw my first ghost at my mom's best friend's house, where there was I was 8 years old. There was a knocking on the door, and apparently a lady friend of my mom's, her name is Shirley, and Shirley was waiting for her brother to come over, and he was coming in from Ontario to Winnipeg, and he was driving down. This is back in the 1960s again, 1964, and they're knocking on the door. She answered it, and her brother was there, but it's only his upper half from his waist up. The lower half wasn't there, it was gone, like a ghost, transparent. And he came back and told her that he had died. He was killed in a car accident in Ontario on the way down. They had on collision. He said to her that he could not stay, that he was going to go now. But he told her he loved her very much. And I watched this from the door. And as I was heading out, as he was heading out, he was walking down the sidewalk, I watched him disappear, like as if he was just like empty, gone. And about an hour later, they get a phone call saying that her brother was killed in a head-on collision. And the reason why, like I said, all there was is a lower half and upper half, is because when there was a head-on collision, the engine from somebody else's car went through the windshield and decapitated him. And so that's how his cell memory, or his memory of his passing, brought him forth that way. He was determined to find her, but he was not in pain, he was not suffering, he was just saying, goodbye, I love you, and I'm going to be moving on.
You hear a lot of stories like that.
Sorry?
I said I've heard a lot of stories like that where people have passed, and people in other areas, you know, they're not even close to the situation, have been visited and being told that the person's okay. And they know that the person has passed before they get that call.
Exactly. Yeah, it does happen. Those are premonitions. Sometimes they're called premonitions. Sometimes they're people who have a family loved one will always have a I guess I'd say people are so worried about what's going to happen next in this world. And the thing is, one thing I've learned from my mom, when she taught me, she says that never worry what comes in front of you or what's placed before you. She says, because if you worry about that all the time, you'll never have a life. And you have to take chances. And even if like I tell people, even if there's actually people in this world that actually have psychics, and they think they have to depend on a psychic all the time, I don't expect people to depend on me all the time. They have learned to depend on themselves. All we're here for specifically are guidance. As we give you that guidance, okay, here's the next thing you should see yourself go. You need to push yourself, make it work. And if you don't make yourself work because you're stopping yourself, people have that fear base in front of them. They're so afraid that they're going to make a mistake. And again, that could be also implanted from a parental upbringing, afraid of making mistakes. And we all have to make mistakes because those are considered learning lessons.
Exactly.
Always have been, always will be.
In a way, they're a blessing. If we're here to learn and we have those challenges and we overcome them, then we've learned something from that.
Yes.
Yeah. So I think it's a good thing, too, to always live in the present, just to appreciate each day, and because none of us know how long we have. What's the point of worrying about tomorrow, right?
Yeah.
So going back to Native American Indians, I had a question in regards to, in a way, getting messages from the spirit world. Sometimes they do come in forms of animals. And I'm a firm believer in animal totems. And I'm just wondering, when the Indians created totem poles, is that what they had in mind? Was it to celebrate spirit or animals or both?
They use animals as symbolism to the spirit world. For example, I'll give you an example. I had a young Christian boy came up to me one day and he says to me, why do you folks keep on praying to eagles? Why do you use eagles as part of your symbolic needs? Or why do you have these animals part of your religion? What is so special about those? What makes it so different compared to my beliefs that we are the perfect people? And I said, well, let me tell you something. Our ceremonies are very similar to yours. I said, and they're still the same. They haven't changed. I said, you pray to God in your way. And you pray to God in a square box with a pointed top on it and a cross. And what you ask in your prayers, it happens. We have a sweat lodge, or we give prayer and we see an eagle that fly above us. And we ask the eagle spirit to send us a message to the Creator that way, because of how we understand that we see the eagle fly as high as it can to leave the earth atmosphere, and then it transforms into an angel and becomes a messenger.
It's beautiful.
Still the same. And the animals relate to us as messengers to show us our path where we're going. And each animal has a purpose. when anybody has a wolf, they always call to the wolf, represents family, motherhood, walking your path, and learning not to walk off of it. Wolves are very timid animals. They're the only animal that actually can walk on top of the snow because they have webbed paws.
I never knew
And
that.
no other dog can do that.
What about rabbits? I have rabbits that come to me all the time.
Learning to overcome your fear.
Really?
Yes, ma'am. But they're also considered as messengers as well for danger. If something gets in the way or something you feel is not right, the rabbit will thump the ground to let you know that something's happening.
Wow.
Those are warning signals. So what you're working on right now is learn to overcome your fears.
Do I have any fears? I don't know. I always
Over-
felt it was a very positive experience whenever they came into my life.
Yeah.
Do they not
Learn to
signify change?
You learn to overcome judgment. You learn to overcome what comes out of those thoughts. It also relates to, if you see a lot of rabbits, they're actually teaching you that you're teaching others learn how to overcome their fears as well.
Okay. Well, that resonates.
Yeah.
So,
And also the rabbit in my language is called Wabbis.
what is it?
Wabbis, rabbit.
Oh, really? Okay. I don't know what to say to that. Okay. Derek, what about owls? You mentioned wolves and eagles. Owls, do they play a part?
Is one of the finest medicines that most people don't realize. Some people in Native American teachings believe the owl is a messenger of death, but not entirely the physical death. They're actually a spiritual death. It means a transitional change. But owls are also great messengers. You know, when they always say the word hoo or screech, they're letting you know what's happening, what's around their surroundings. They're letting you know that they're there if you need them. Sometimes I'll drive late at night in the dark, and an owl will fly across the highway, or will fly across my path when I'm hunting or walking in the bush. And that shows me there's danger ahead to watch what's happening, or it may not be danger. You could just be careful. There's something there ahead of me. So when I was driving down the highway and an owl flew across me, and about a quarter of a mile away, here's the RCMP waiting for me to, waiting for speedsters, and I was going a little bit faster than I'm supposed to. So I come down at speed really quick. And that's what happens. They protect you. They make sure you're well taken care of. Owl medicines are very powerful. And it depends on what you use. I've used owl medicine for people to protect them from harm. So,
Okay.
depends.
So, medicine men, what role do they play? Are they considered the doctors in the village?
Similar. Some of them are visual seekers. Some medicine men are healers, and women, by the way. They're medicine women as well. They'll use traditional medicines. They harvest and pick what's needed. Some are just counselors, and so basically a lot of it's through spiritual healing. So, and also they become the community elder. So they're known, and so people come to them for wisdom. So they bring them tobacco for a message or assistance, and if that medicine man or medicine woman accepts the tobacco, then he or she is responsible for that person to give them that message, what they require to do for them, what they asked, the question.
Okay. And I wanted to ask you, what is the peace pipe used for when you have your ceremonies?
Well, peace pipe, actually, there's different varieties of pipes, and you call it a peace pipe. The peace pipe was actually, it's a coming to community pipe. That is whenever everybody sits in a circle, and they talk about wisdom, and they share their stories about what's important in the community. But most of the time when the pipe is passed around, everyone smokes the pipe. There's nothing there that makes you high, by the way. It's just all natural herbs. It's like tobacco. It's always just tobacco. And they talk about and they share their stories, and then the head chief or the head counselor will make a decision what they'll do in the end. But the head counselor will always turn to their wives, to the women, and they ask them what's the final answer. Because the women are the ones that make the decision, not just the men. That's why they call it the community pipe.
Okay. See, and I never would have thought that. I always thought, well, again, you grow up with movies and you assume that the chief makes all the decisions. So it's
the
the
chief's
women.
wives make all the decision. Because they not always the man will always have the answer. They turn to their wives for assistance.
Okay. So really, our cultures are not that different.
No, not entirely, no. But it's what it is, when you get together with someone or some people, you're there for one reason, and that is to learn about our culture. But you're also there to understand that we're not bad people, that we are good people, that we are trying to help others. Even the non-native people, we help them. We're not racists.
No.
But society shows itself that we are, or they try to become racist to us. And that's because that's how Hollywood sees us, as being the bad person or evil or mischievous. And we're not. We're actually very humble people. Our work is always for community, and we're very supportive. And we like to share our wisdom and our stories, and we like to help people through for many, many years. And when they get to know us, then you have a very strong growing community. A lot of the non-native people always want to learn about our culture.
Well, I've always thought as Native Americans being the peacemakers.
We are considered the peacemakers at times, because we try to arrange or organize gatherings where people come together in meetings, and they talk about what they can learn from the wisdom.
And what can you tell us about drumming circles?
Drumming circles are good to do. They share songs. They're sharing songs that I share about. Storytelling. Again, it can also relate to animal totems. I run animal totem healing circles, which I sing different songs which relate to different animals. Some of them are healing songs. Some are giving thank you songs. We honor songs, so it depends. And the drumming is, like I said before, the drumming has the heart of the soul. Mm-hmm. Helps us heal, helps us see and where we're going from here in this world.
And I wanted to mention too that I've been on YouTube. Derek White Sky Cloud is on YouTube. You can actually see him sing and drum. If you'd like to go check out one of his videos, they're great. And I know we don't actually have a visual, Derek, but did you feel like singing a little song for us tonight?
Oh, hang on. Let's see if I get my drum. Just hang on 1 second.
Okay. For those of you who have joined us, it's Christine with Ask Your Angels. We're at www.askyourangels.ca. Tonight we're with Derek White Sky Cloud, and our show is called The Great White Spirit. We're talking about Native American Indians, and we are about to hear a drum song from Derek.
Yeah.
Are you ready?
Just about.
Now, you should have known I was going to ask you to do this.
Yeah.
Is this what Native American Indians would do for, say, a rain dance?
No, that's totally different. Rain dance is society. How does it say? Rain dances are specifically done by certain people. It depends.
Are they successful? Are they successful? Do you believe that rain dances actually work?
Yeah, I guess it could be. I actually did I did drums. We did a friend of mine and I. We sang one of the songs, and what happened was it started to rain, and it wasn't expected. So everything happened.
Was that actually a rain dance, or was that the God's way of telling you to stop singing? Derek?
Yep, I hear you.
Okay, that was a joke.
Well, I didn't hear anything. I was just.
Okay.
Can you hear the drum?
Yes. That was awesome. Thank you so much.
That's only a small, short song.
Well, I've seen you on YouTube though, and I know it's great. I really appreciate that you did that for us tonight.
Welcome.
So I wanted to ask you. Now you're very creative too, right, Derek? You make several things.
Oh yeah, I make.
Dream
all types
catchers.
I'm a drum maker. I make all kinds of crafts, knitted crafts, as well as jewelry.
Okay. Smudge bowls.
Well, the idea of making smudge bowls are done differently. They're made out of clay, and then underneath them they're wrapped in rabbit hair with a handle, with a deer handle. And you can burn your sage inside, and your mixtures of the medicine.
And that's called smudging, right?
Sorry?
That's what's known as smudging.
That's smudging, yeah.
And what is smudging used for?
Smudging is used for clearing all negative energies, to balance the energies in this world and the area that you're dealing with.
Okay. And I want.
So it depends on what you're looking for.
Well, I've just heard different people say before that they've used smudging, and I never really knew what it was.
Okay. Little bit on me. Just trying to get a song in my head. I was going to sing it. Anyway, go ahead.
So Native American Indians, they are very respectful of their elders.
Very much so. You very seldom ever see a youth not respect an elder. We're always taught, the children are always taught how to respect family, you'd be surprised. There's more disciplined children, Native children, than there are actually non-Native children. They're to their families. And I can go to the res and you'll see the kids. They will never argue with their parent. And the parent doesn't hit them. They just say, look at the kid, goes, you can't do that, and the kids know. It's different. It's not, there is more discipline there than there actually is in your average non-Native people. I'm not saying all non-Native kids are undisciplined. But I'm just saying that respect has changed now. The children don't respect a person like they used to.
That's
and
true.
society's changed. So what we're doing is we're bringing back the idea of respect you look at people and you turn to them and you say, this is the reason why we're here. Bring back that culture of saying it's a human life, and we're bringing back family and tradition again, where it's, again, number one, respect, love, nurture, forgiveness, always.
And would you not say that it's a good idea if you are bringing your children up to respect their elders, to respect you as parents, that it should be a two-way thing, that parents should also respect their children?
Yeah.
I believe that too. So, Derek, do you believe that mankind is ascending?
Is mankind ascending? It depends on mankind.
Are we getting closer?
To a point. I think what's happening right now, and I don't want to bring negativity into it all the time, but sometimes our government, I'm not just saying Canada or the United States, but I feel bad for everybody, that when you have a government running against you, they try to discern comfort. They try to take it away from the people that what they feel is comfortable. Mm-hmm. And, when you're looking for love and respect, you're looking for courage, you're looking for honesty, you're looking for wisdom and humility and truth. That's part of our 7 teachings. And when we try to share that into a healing circle or sharing circle with society, a lot of people are they're prepared to listen, but when you bring that up into a government, they're afraid of our eagle feather. You can walk into a parliament room and you walk with that eagle feather in your hand, they think it's a knife, or they think it's something that can damage them. And because they like to disrupt things and keep it controlled. They want to control the Indian, they want to control the non-native people, they want to control all cultures. And what we're trying to do is trying to teach the public that, forgive them for who they are, because they don't know who they are. If society wants to try to control you, if you let them, that's exactly what they'll do. But you try to find a way that you don't want them to electively control you or your family, or make you feel that you're worthless, also give you strength. And you want to find that inner strength. And here you go, you have a show called Ask Your Angels. Mm-hmm. Angels are very powerful. People forget that angels are meant to be asked to help you to help give you guidance. In our culture, we know angels existed because many of us have seen them, but we've seen them in different forms. When we had the White Buffalo Calf woman show up showing the medicine pipe, she was like an angel. And she shows us what her journey was, to show us what we had to learn. And that journey was from her teaching us to respect the woman, to respect family, and to honor your family, and to honor all others around you. No matter if they're a person's an enemy, you still honor them and forgive them. Because if you don't, you can do more harm than good to yourself. So you're looking for comfort. You're looking for that place that is saying, okay, what am I going to do from here? Where do I go from here? And when I see so many stories about government doing this and government doing that, bureaucracy, and yes, every day we go out there and we try to come up with something that's going to, like I should say, bring comfort. And we're trying to find a way to legally, to basically, to be, not lose control in our lives, but to be in control of our lives and not having to be like sheeple, so to speak. Mm-hmm. And we're not the leaders, but we're also not the sheep. We're also people that work together in community. So sometimes it doesn't hurt to have a leader once in a while to help you, give you that guidance, to say, here I am. But what you learn from the leader teaches you to become a leader as well. There's no one says you can't be. No matter how small or how big, you're still a leader. When you become a mother and a father, you're still leaders to your children. You're leaders to other children that you play with. Or if you take them onto camping, you're still leaders. So no matter what it is, it still considers importance. And it's important for this world to succeed. And that's why angels are important to us. That's why society today needs to understand that we don't want to lose focus on the positive. Because if we do, we can if we end up forgetting ourselves, who we are, we end up forgetting what society is all about. So if anybody calls you down, calls your names, let them do what they want to say, because they're just hurting. we're not hurting. They are. They're just trying to hurt us. But we can forgive them and we can step away. I mean, let's put it this way. If someone screams at you and calls your names, the next day it's not going to hurt you because you already heard it. The next day you got something else to do. Why should you worry about that same thing that day, the day before? Why worry about it? If someone says, well, we're going to change the world. You know what? The world's changing every day. What are they going to do to make a difference? Well, they're going to say the world's going to come to an end tomorrow. Yeah, and we fulfilled what our dream is supposed to be. Whatever our job's supposed to be, it's there. And just make the best of it.
Yeah, I believe
The
that.
world's not coming to an end. We're positive.
Exactly. Thank you so much, Derek. And thank you so much for joining us this evening. We really appreciated that you took the time to be part of this and and we have a question. Okay.
Just a couple of last minute questions. Somebody online says they see a name on here that says White Sky Cloud and wondering if it's you.
If my name's on there, that's me.
Yeah. They want to know if you're going to accept friend requests because they'd like to chat with you.
Oh, I always accept friend requests.
There you go. We'd like you to be our friend too.
That's okay. Let's be friends.
Let's all be friends. Do we have any more
I
questions?
feel like that purple dinosaur now. Okay.
Oh no, not the purple dinosaur.
Yeah.
I was so glad when my kids were past the purple dinosaur phase.
I brought it up.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, well, my kids went through it.
But I did like Bear in the Big Blue House. Now there's a show.
Yeah, there you go.
So again, thanks so much for joining us tonight, Derek. It's been a pleasure, and we hope to have you back on the show again one day.
You're welcome.
And
Maybe next time we'll do some readings for people.
that would be awesome. Do you think you could give everyone your website? I'm sure they're going to want to check it out.
Okay, it's whiteskycloud.com, all one word, whiteskycloud.com. If you want to reach me, go to my website, you'll find my number and all that. Also, I do radio, and my show is called Between Two Worlds Radio. I'm on the Z Talk Radio Network, Z, letter Z, Talk Radio Network, and I'm on Tuesday night, 7 o'clock, and Sunday night at 8 o'clock, these are Pacific time. So on Sunday nights, I do the Music Mix Meltdown. I'm actually a DJ. I mix music for 3 hours. And so I do a variety of music playing, and so if people want to be part of it, please join me.
That sounds great. And we'll make sure we have that information on our website as well, www.askyourangels.ca. You can see all of our past guests there if you want to look them up. And thanks again for joining us. And I believe next week we have Karen Hayhurst coming on. She's written a book about auras, the alchemy of spirit and matter. So Karen's joining us next week, 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, Wednesday night. So please join us. Thanks so much, Derek. And you have a great evening. And don't hang up. We're going to talk to you at the end of the show.
My language, miigwech.